Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Friday Night's Young at Heart, featuring nursery rhymes, stories, songs, poems, Mother Goose, Aesop's fables, Lewis Carroll, limericks, larks, epic stories of the great operas, and such, to keep us all young at heart. After all these years, are you two now chanting along with me? Nursery rhymes, stories, songs, poems, etc., etc. I hope so. It's good for your heart. The conclusion of the Adventure di Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi. This is chapter 36, Talente, I think. And it's an exciting little chapter. It's not that short, so be prepared. Pull up a chair. Get comfortable. Don't fall asleep. So, here we have it. Last time, the great, kind, giant tuna brought Geppetto and Pinocchio to shore. Now they're still waterlogged. Geppetto's absolutely exhausted, and he's very old now. But they are determined, Pinocchio is determined, to go inland and find a place where they can get some warmth, perhaps some food. And he wants to take care of his father. He's determined to do this now. So as they're walking and they're coming to a village, who should be there begging but a cat who is blind, and a fox who is lame and limping. They recognize Pinocchio right away. Oh, Pinocchio, what do you have? Can you give some bread or some coins to this poor blind cat and this hobbling fox? I know you now, you masqueraders, said Pinocchio. You shall get nothing from me. Oh, Pinocchio, again they plead, a second time. You fooled me twice before, said Pinocchio. You're masqueraders. You shall get nothing from me. And a third time they plead, and Pinocchio says, you fooled me once. You fooled me twice. Never again. And so he and Geppetto continue on their way. Do you consider that divine justice, perhaps? Because, in truth, the cat is really blind. And at this point, the fox is really lame. And true, they are completely desperate. Honest for the first time in their maladies and infirmities. But alas, Pinocchio knows them for who and what they are. So would you call it divine justice? Would you call it providential? Would you call it just plain secular, just deserts? Better be careful how you answer that, but nevertheless, that's how we leave them. Now they continue to go on, and they find a little hut. It looks very nice from the outside. It's just a little hut. It's not a big house, not a grand hotel. The roof is well patched, and everything looks pretty stable. So they knock on the door, and a little voice says, "Come in." And they come in, look around. Nobody. There's nobody there, but in the little hut is a nice big pile of straw, just nice and soft, that good kind. So Pinocchio makes sure Geppetto lies on the straw, comfortable, looking all around, and they hear this voice. Are you comfortable? Who's speaking? What's going on? Says Pinocchio. And then from a little bit of the corner of the hut, we hear, "It is I, that Cricket." "Oh, dear Cricket," cried Pinocchio, it's you, and you're opened the door for us to help us in our need." "Well, that's nice for you to say," says the Cricket. "You're the one who threw a mallet at me and squished me flat." "I know," said Pinocchio, "and I regret it beyond telling. I'm so sorry, but I'm different now, and we thank you so much for your kindness and your hospitality, but there's nothing here but straw. My poor father, he needs a glass of milk, something." "Well," said the Cricket, "if you go down the lane, you will find a vegetable gardener, and he has cows. I'm sure he will give you some milk." So Pinocchio heads out, and he reaches the vegetable gardener after quite a length of walk, actually. And the gardener says, yes, I'll give you a quart of milk, but it's 5 pennies. 5 pennies I have not, said Pinocchio. Then the milk you shall not have, said the vegetable gardener. But, he said, I need some work done. I will work, said Pinocchio. What is it that you need done? And he said, I have this wheel and a pole, and you've got to push the pole around and around in a circle, and it will bring water up for my cistern that I can have for my vegetables. I will do it. But I need 100 buckets of water, said the vegetable gardener. I will do it, said Pinocchio, and he does. Around and around he takes the pole, and he goes around and around the well, and he brings up the barrels of water, until finally he's absolutely exhausted. But the gardener is true to his word. He said, yes, that's what I needed, and you have worked hard. Here's the gallon of milk. It's interesting, he said, how you're just a puppet of wood, but that donkey I bought, he's good for nothing. And you came along just in time, actually, because the donkey's dying, and I didn't know how I was going to get this water because I'm not well enough to crank the wheel and walk around the well 100 times or more. Who is this donkey? Asked Pinocchio. Where is this donkey? Why do you care? Said the gardener. But he said, well, if he's dying, he could use some comfort at this time. I once knew a donkey. You knew a donkey? So he sends him to the barn, and there is this poor donkey, just at death's door. Pinocchio pats the donkey and said, Donkey, what is your name? Lampwick. My dear Lampwick, my friend, oh, I am so sorry to see that you've come to this end. And indeed he has. But Pinocchio blessed him, and Lampwick dies in Pinocchio's arms. Then he heads back, of course. Now he has the milk. And on the way, somehow or other, I think that blue goat, remember the blue goat that was up on the, manages to give Pinocchio some coins, so he's able to invest a little bit, get some books for school, and he works so hard cleaning up the hut and purchasing a chair or two, and things are going extraordinarily well for Pinocchio and his father. And one day, after a long time and an awful lot of work and an awful lot of care for his father, taking him, getting him, putting wheels on a little chair and strolling him around the little village, he comes home one night and kisses his father goodnight. And in the morning, he wakes up and he feels quite different than he had before. And suddenly, the little hut, for all Pinocchio's work, it was quite nice, but now it's nicer than ever. A real respectable home, solid and comfortable, and with a few little amenities here and there, warm blankets and other things, and curtains, and a window. There wasn't a window in the hut before. Father, how have we come to such great fortune? And Geppetto, who's still old, but now quite spry and lively, and he said, well, my son, he said, when young men who've been bad learn how to be good, the whole world changes, and not only for them, but for those around them. And so Pinocchio, quite happy, happens to look in the mirror and notices this funny feeling that he has an external expression, and he finds himself a real boy at last. Thank you, Blue Fairy, says Pinocchio. And he and his father, I was going to say grandfather, and he and his father hug, and Pinocchio continues to work hard, support his father and himself, and they live happily ever after. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had fun as I had with these 36 chapters of La Ventura di Pinocchio. And hopefully someday you too may read an original version. This happens to be a paperback. One side is Italian, one side is English. Didn't help me learn Italian, I'm sorry to say, but it's fun to have it this way. But there are others. Investigate it, read it to yourself, read it to your children, read it to your grandchildren, read it to your nieces and nephews, read it to your godchildren. There's many a good moral set in these pages. And as for me, I'm going to take some time off from Young at Heart. You are free to write me on Facebook or email lukelive@lukelive.com, or you put a note on this YouTube channel. There you are. I don't know how long. We'll see. We'll see what we want to do. But I think I'll start next with an opera. Maybe I'll start in the new year. How is that? I've got a parish mission coming up. Another Luke Live. I've got a meeting in my new role as a director of the Polish Fathers Ecumenical Multi-Faith Office for Catholic and Muslim professionals. And I guess as a Catholic priest, 30 years ordained, I'm considered a Catholic professional. Who knew? So I've got that and 101 other things on my plate. If you're not receiving my email, Together in Hope, for Ecumenical Multi-Faith Dialogue, please write me, ask me. lukelive@lukelive.com, email lukelive@lukelive.com. I'll be happy to put you on that list. And thank you so much for joining me all these years from our COVID time. Hopefully we all will remain healthy, and hopefully we won't get COVID. Be extra careful now again. It's resuming, a different kind of strain. Get those vaccines, get those boosters, take good care. God bless you all, and we'll see you sometime in the new year, only by popular demand. If not, God bless us all. Good night.